All right, guys, we got to talk about an interesting little controversy that took place earlier this morning on CNBC. And what happened was Kamala Harris's economic advisor, his name is Bharat Rama, went on CNBC and it turned into this viral clip where he basically explained his argument of why their administration is in favor of unrealized capital gains tax. What that basically means is the Biden-Harris administration, or Kamala Harris if she gets elected, she would literally tax unrealized gains on your stock gains. So let me just explain what unrealized capital gains tax means. Okay, so as of right now, the current system, the way that it works, is you have something called realized gains and unrealized gains. You do not get taxed on unrealized gains. Technically, everybody that is up on a stock investment right now has something called unrealized gains. For example, let's say I buy NVIDIA stock and I'm up 30%. I have made a 30% return on the stock, and whatever that amounts to, depending on how much money I put in, I'm up. I currently, as the system stands, do not get taxed on that money. It doesn't matter if I'm up 30%. It doesn't matter if I'm up 100%, 1,000%. It is considered unrealized because I did not sell. As long as I don't sell, it does not get taxed. It is not until I sell that it gets taxed. And when I sell that stock for a gain, it goes from being an unrealized gain to a realized gain. So as the system currently stands right now, you only get taxed on realized gains. And the only way you can realize the gain is if you sell the stock. What the Kamala Harris administration wants to do is, even if you don't sell the stock and the stock goes up and you don't sell it, and it goes down and you lose money, you would still get taxed on the unrealized gain, even though you didn't sell. Just a quick example. Let's say I buy NVIDIA stock. I'm up 100% on the stock. I made a 100% unrealized gain on the stock. And the reason why it's unrealized is because I did not sell the stock. Well, let's say that in the same day or a few days later, the stock goes from being up 100% to back down 85%. Well, and then I decide to sell it. Well, because I had an unrealized gain, of 100%, under Kamala Harris's new tax plan, even if you realize the gain for 15%, but at one point you were up 100%, even though you didn't sell, you would get taxed on that 100% unrealized gain. I know this stuff can get pretty complicated. Hopefully I explained it well. The bottom line is this proposal is beyond stupid. I am not in favor of it. It is a terrible proposal. I'm going to be honest here. That is absolutely terrible. And the good news is it's never going to pass. But one thing that I do want to clarify, we got to make sure that we speak the facts here, because what a lot of these people who are not fans of Kamala Harris are leaving out is the actual language of the proposal. So let's go ahead and go to the actual proposal language. So this is the proposal right here that originally was written by the Biden administration, who obviously Kamala is a part of. And Kamala will basically incorporate this into her administration if she were to win re-election. So everybody's saying, oh my God, Kamala Harris is going to take all your money. She's going to tax unrealized gains. All you middle-class people who are working hard and trying to build a little wealth and make something for yourself in America and live the American dream, she's going to take that away from you. That's false. That's not true. I do not agree with the unrealized tax. I think that's stupid. I think that's terrible. It's un-American, to be honest. But just to be clear, according to the proposal, which I have pulled up right here, that proposal would only apply, the unrealized capital gains tax would only apply to individuals who make more than $100 million. So 99% of everybody complaining about the proposal, it would not affect you in any way. If you're a millionaire, you would not be affected. If you're a 100,000aire, you would not be affected. They're not going to tax unrealized capital gains for the middle class, for the poor, for even the upper middle class. They're not coming after your money. They are only going after the mega rich. And the funny part is, there's this article right here on Axios that really broke it down. The unrealized gains, capital gains tax only applies to individuals with at least $100 million in wealth who do not pay at least a 25% tax rate on their income. So I really don't have an issue with it as long as it's, I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong, I do. But I'm not as upset about it because it's only geared towards people who make, $100 million. So I just want to go ahead and clarify that the tax proposal only applies to individuals making over $100 million. Not that huge of a deal. I mean, also, it's never going to pass, just to be quite honest with you guys. It's never going to happen. Congress won't allow it. There will be outrage all over the place if it happens, even though it only applies to individuals making over $100 million. People just don't like that because you're essentially taxing money from people that they didn't even make. Like, that's not theirs. Like, if you don't realize the gain, technically you didn't actually make the money. Like, it's kind of complicated, but yeah, let's go ahead and actually play the video though, because the CNBC hosts were really upset about the economic advisor for Kamala when he spoke to them about his thoughts on the unrealized capital gains tax. Here we go.
Unrealized gains, taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word. In the very best sense, if you are taxing unrealized gains, all you're doing is pulling forward the taxes that would be paid later when someone actually sells the stock.
I think that this reaction to unrealized gains is a little funny, given that I bet that the majority of people watching right now are already paying a tax on unrealized gains. It's called a property tax.
Property tax.
When the value of your home goes up,
it's a use tax.
When the value of your home goes up.
Yeah, that's not really the same thing. You can't compare stocks to real estate. Those two taxes are two completely different things, in my opinion. They're not the same. Taxing unrealized gains on somebody who made a 1,000% return on Tesla stock, but when they sold the stock, they actually only made 5% because that's when they actually decided to sell the stock. Like, it's not the same at all.
You pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way a stock moves, the way something else moves.
That's always the go-to answer.
Yeah, she's bringing up an excellent point. Stocks are so much more volatile than real estate. Stocks move crazy swings, crazy volatility. They could be really up. They could be really down. You can't do options contracts on real estate. You could do options contracts in stocks. I mean, you can short stocks and make a lot of money. It's just a different ballgame. You cannot compare stocks and real estate. That was a bad comparison.
Also, property tax is a use tax. You're paying for the schools. You're paying for emergency services. Those are things that make absolute sense.
And sure, and all the revenue that comes in from these unrealized gains taxes and the other taxes in the Harris plan are going to go to creating what she calls more opportunity. It's to make sure that every newborn born in this country gets.
Yeah, but here's the other problem, too. The federal government is just so bad at spending their money. You know, you can say all you want that, yeah, these dollars that we tax you from unrealized capital gains is going to go to this, and this. But, you know, every time I look up, all I see is you're sending billions of our tax dollars to Israel. You're sending billions of our tax dollars to Ukraine. You know, the federal government just doesn't do that great of a job when it comes to use of money. But you know who does? These local neighborhoods or, you know, some of these states or whatever that will use your property taxes to go to the school districts. Most of the school districts, I could even speak on the state of Illinois where I live in, most of the neighborhoods with good school districts, for the most part, have high taxes, which tells me that they're clearly doing what they're supposed to do because that's why the property taxes are higher, so they could go to different resources that will better help the neighborhood, like the school districts, making sure you have good teachers, making sure everything's all updated. You got a nice football field. You got a nice facility. Everybody has all the resources and books that they need and different things like that. Some of these affluent neighborhoods in Illinois do a really good job with the tax dollars. The federal government, unfortunately, just does not. So do I really trust the Kamala Harris administration to do the right thing with the tax money? No, I don't. Now, again, this isn't shade to Kamala Harris. I've been very vocal and honest about the fact that I will be voting Democrat in this election. I will be voting for Kamala Harris, but I got to call a spade a spade. The federal government is just not great when it comes to spending money. I mean, go do a deep dive one day on Google. Just really do a deep dive of research. What in God's name these people are spending your money on? You would be shocked. It's crazy.
$6,000.
Using the services.
Well, look, you're arguing that this is some sort of foreign concept that's completely unknown in the U.S. tax code.
It's probably unconstitutional. It's probably, and it was never in anyone's intent to
income.
To tax.
It's not an income tax,
and it's never going to happen. Probably.
All right, so there you go. That's the end of that clip. That's the clip that's kind of going viral on Twitter. Everybody's all up in arms about it. I just wanted to make sure I clarified that no, Kamala Harris is not coming after the middle class. She's only going after people who make over $100 million. But at the same time, this is an absolutely dumb proposal. This proposal is really stupid. But it's never going to happen. So there's really no point in everybody being outraged because it's never, ever going to happen. Trust me. You have about as good of a chance of this happening as student loan forgiveness happening, which at this point doesn't seem like that's ever going to happen either. So, all right. Anyway, that's today's video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.